Yeah, I'm mystified, all right, because I've been on this committee a short time, but there have been one example after another of colossal rip-offs of the taxpayers, and I've yet to find anybody anywhere, for any reason, poor performance or just massive fiscal rip-off, paying any consequence whatsoever. And it's mystifying to all of us that it just doesn't seem to matter what you do, why you do it, or how you do it. And you all are the ones who are coming in to investigate. And I would think it would be kind of frustrating for you if your work is ignored, in effect.
Well, there are some consequences. For example, in preparing for this hearing and going through some of our bid protest decisions, there are many instances where, in rating past performance by contractors, that contractors will be downgraded, in some cases very severely, for their for the kinds of abuses that you identified.
Mr. Friedman, let me ask you, you have to make a decision about when and whether to investigate. Let me just ask about that incident about the anthrax out there at the nuclear facility. This is where Wackenhut had a contract, and there was an envelope that was opened in the vicinity of the Mr. Chertoff, I think, or Homeland Security, and no investigation occurred, even though that was potentially a very serious national security issue. What's the threshold that makes you decide yes or no on doing an investigation when the mistake, negligent or intentional, goes to the heart of the performance required, namely national security?
Well, maybe this will be the ultimate answer to your question. I'm not aware of that incident, to be quite honest with you, and I can't address your question.
Homeland Security. Right, thank you. Mr. Skinner. Yep, thank you. Mr. Skinner. Sorry, Mr. Friedman.
Yes, with the Wackenhut incident, that contract was actually a Department of Defense contract. It was we received the allegations in I believe in February '06, and the contract was about to expire in March '06. That, coupled with the fact that as we were in fact doing our preliminary work on those allegations, we were asked to step down by the two senators that had referred the allegation to us for fear that those that made the allegation would become known to the contractor. Given those variables.
Wait a minute. Go slow on that. You were asked by what?
The allegations came to us through through Congress. They came from employees of Wackenhut through Congress and were referred to us. We are in the process of taking a close look at those allegations, determine whether they merit an investigation or some type of further review. When we discovered that the contract, in fact, was not a Department of Homeland Security contract, but it was a DOD contract, because the facility at that time, early on, was in fact a DOD facility, and the Department of Homeland Security had just had moved in I think in March '03, and they were in Department of Homeland Security, and Lane, I believe you were involved in this as well, was in the process of rebidding that security contract. And the contract was about to expire in March, and I believe we actually took a rebid and hired another contractor in June.
But the investigation was never completed, right?
That's correct. That does not mean that we're going to continue to take a very close look at this.
Wait a minute. You're going to take a close look at that now?
Well, the contract is expired. The contractor is no longer providing security services for that facility. However, they are providing services at other facilities. So our concern now is if they, in fact, had problems at that facility, who's to say they're not going to have problems at other facilities?
So let me ask the obvious question. If it happened a while ago, why didn't you start, and you think it's still relevant, why hasn't it been investigated?
The incident at the NAC, again, because that contractor is no longer employed there. It's a new contractor.
Said that contractor, this is not making sense to me, with all due respect.
Representative Welch, you might want to wrap up. We're going to have to run over.
You said it's still relevant to you because the Wackenhut has other contracts at other places, and it's relevant what happened there to determine whether the work they do elsewhere meets the requirements of the taxpayer. So obviously, it means that if you want to get that information, sooner getting it is better than later, right?
Yes. And we are, in fact, planning to do that. You have to understand, we have very limited resources as well, and it had to work its way up the chain and it's something that's on our to-do list.
We're all saved by the vote.
Thank you very much.